when I go through these facilities. I went to Tornillo last October, and it was the same sense of how inappropriate it is to just keep hundreds and thousands of these kids locked up together like this. It's actually not the fault of the people who are running the facility. That's their contract. They're doing what they need to do, and they're not doing it badly. But the facility is wrong. You can't put children in a facility like this and expect them to thrive. They can't. The children, they look anxious. They look sad. They look confused. They also look like kids. Some of them are goofing around with each other. Some of them are, trying to find play and joy and fun with one another. And that's great, because kids should be doing that. And this is the wrong setting for them to be able to be kids. So the best thing would be to reunify all of these kids immediately with their families. And if we can't do that, they should be moved to shelters that actually allow them to be children and are not detention facilities with barbed wire around the edges.
If you had, in closing, I know you're on a tight schedule, your message to the current administration and our political leaders, do you have one for them?
There is a real political crisis in the countries that are spurring these children to leave home and to travel thousands of miles and to come here. The crisis is not at our border. The crisis is in Guatemala and Nicaragua and Honduras and El Salvador. That's where the crisis is. And our obligation to these children is to respect that they are seeking asylum and to handle them as asylum seekers, not as criminals, not as dangers, not as security risks, and certainly not as warehousing objects that need to be moved from one place to another. This administration needs to recognize its legal obligations not only under U.S. law but under international law, and they're obligated to find the best interest of these children and to reunify them with their families.
What is your next step as an organization if the administration does not respond?
Well, I'll be honest, I'm not optimistic about this administration being responsive to us or any other demands, but we will next week be releasing our report publicly. We will be calling on ORR and the Department of Homeland Security to close all temporary emergency facilities. They are not appropriate shelters for children. That means that they need to step up on reunification. I'll just note, in the last week, several hundred children have been reunified with their families. And the shelter and ORR have acknowledged the reason for that is because of the policy change. They're no longer requiring fingerprinting from family members for many of the children who are here. And they're now with their families. That is not because they couldn't do it a week ago. It's because the policy was wrong. So we want them to fix the policies, to reunify the kids as soon as possible. That's the priority. That's what we want.